me and interrupt me and ask me any questions in case I'm assuming something that you know that you don't. Just let me know. Okay, so I assume you can hear me fine. So going with the first question, where are all the deployed contract addresses? Nice. This yeah, you basically need this a lot. So basically, the source of truth that we have, it's a repo that is called Aragon Network Deploy. This repo is basically contains basically all the deployed instances that we have for the different environments of Aragon Court. Okay, my internet connection is not working very well. Nice. Can you still hear me, guys?
Yeah, the funny thing we can still hear you.
This is super weird.
It's your DNS though, yeah?
Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm connected from my phone, but shouldn't. That's weird. Super weird. Okay, it seems to be working now. Well, maybe I can show you from my yeah. Let's try showing my local repo because I have cloned it here. So just trust me that it's it's up there in GitHub. I think this one is it. Core deploy. So basically, this is the structure of the repo. It doesn't have many much stuff. The idea of this repo is to provide some scripts. Actually, we have all this. Currently, we have all this. Like deploy court instance, deploy faucets. These are ERC20 faucets that we're using for the testing instances. The mini-me tokens that we're using like ANJ or DAI. Of course, we're not going to deploy a DAI instance to mainnet, but the idea is that you can use this to set up your court instance in any environment with all the different pieces that you may need. The wrappers that we use for the presale or the bonding curve, the migration that we did for the registry, changing modules that we did for the upgrades or changing the subscription params. Yeah, all the different kind of things that we needed to do with the court are encoded in this kind of commands. We're using JavaScript for that. And basically all those commands are going to read some input that we may need to run them, and they're going to write some output. So this is basically the source of truth of our court addresses, let's say. So for example, you will find this court mainnet JSON that basically contains all the addresses of your of the court instance. You can see the version of the different modules of the court. I will go over this. There's another question related to this in the list. You can find, for example, let's say, I don't know, I want to know the address of the ANJ in Rinkeby. So I can go to mini-me Rinkeby, and I will find here the ANJ address of for that environment. I'll have the ANJ address that we're using for the bonding curve in Rinkeby. I can have the address of the DAI instance that we're using for the fees of the court in Rinkeby. Where is the wrapper that we use for the presale on mainnet? Okay, it's here. The one that we use for Rinkeby is here, and yeah, I think you basically follow the idea of this repo. You can have some other ways to answer this question. For example, something that I usually do when I want to know strictly related about the court addresses, not, for example, the wrapper addresses, because that information is like a super particular case. But for example, for the court court addresses, we have here, we have a back office that is deployed for all the instances as well. So for example, this is the one that should be up for Rinkeby. Make sure to be you have a MetaMask account connected there, just to avoid showing some errors. Doesn't happen, or it shouldn't happen anything if you are not connected to a MetaMask account, because it's basically to allow you to run some functions like claiming tokens from the faucet or running the heartbeat, etc. I can go over this later. Just to query information is not necessary, but just to make sure you don't see any errors around. So you have this section here that is called modules, and these are the modules that are currently set for that instance that you're looking for. And you can see here, for example, the treasury or the dispute manager or the subscriptions module or the jury registry or the voting module. These are the 5 modules that are basically compounded a court instance. So for example, and yeah, you can have here like a nice link to Etherscan, and you can see the contract. And yeah, basically this is another useful way to query the addresses. Again, strictly related to the court modules. You have here as well the ANJ, for example, or the fee token. This is the DAI instance. This will match what you should find in the network deploy repo. But again, for example, if you're looking like a super particular address, like I don't know, the bonding curve wrapper that we use on Rinkeby, it's not exposed here. So you should probably go and fetch it from there. Okay. In case you have any questions, again, interrupt me. Otherwise, I will go over the list. What about the old versions of the modules? Yeah, nice question. Okay, so this is what I showed before, or what I've mentioned before about that's grab mainnet, because it's probably the one that has, yeah, we've been doing more upgrades. This is basically what that question refers to, I think. We've been doing different kind of upgrades to the modules of the court, some of them for UX improvements, other for bug fixes. And you will see here the current version that we have for that module. How do we know which are the previous versions of that module? Well, probably this information isn't exposed or available super easy. But something you could do is to go over the GitHub history of these kind of files, and you will see the differences of all the upgrades that we've been doing. So for example, here we updated the dispute manager. This was one of the latest upgrades that we did. Or when we updated the registry, you will see the registry going from version 1.1 to 1.2. Or when we did, these were like a UX improvements, and we updated the dispute manager from version 1.0 to 1.1, the registry from 1.0 to 1.1, and the voting from 1.0 to 1.1. Basically, this is the best way probably to see which are the addresses of the previous deployed versions. There's another way that you could do this using Tenderly. We're keeping the maybe not all of you have access to this dashboard, but it's like a yeah, monitoring, let's say, dashboard to see information related to your smart contracts, and we are keeping here track of all the versions that we had for every module of the court. So you will see, for example, again, the dispute manager B 1.1, what we have here probably somewhere here, version 1.2, and we should have version 1.0 somewhere here. Okay, maybe it's not being tracked yet. But this is probably another useful tool to answer that question. What about the tokens? Well, I guess I already covered that. Again, remember that you can get it from here, from the minimi file in the output. Again, you have you should always see listed these three tokens. There are no more tokens related to the core, like DAI that is mainly used for fees, ANJ, and ANT that it's mainly used for the bonding curve and yeah, all the fundraising apps that we have set up to convert ANT to ANJ. And again, you can find this question, the answer of this question here as well in the back office. Just look for ANJ and you will find it there. And the fee token is mainly DAI. Well, it's DAI for now. So cool. How do I create presence campaign dispute? Nice question. So in order to create a presence campaign dispute, there are a few steps that you need to follow before doing that. I'm just going to open a console. Just give me a moment.
So as we were doing this and we were on the Tenderly topic,
Yeah.
this is what I'd like to hear from them. So I was like, oh, is there a way to export this dashboard that we have to let someone else import it? And they said probably next week they'll release
Nice.
a public project. That way that anybody can import the same contracts.
Nice. Nice. Okay, this is not important. Okay, so it may take long to answer this question, but let go step by step. Currently, the dashboard that we have, and when I say dashboard, I mean this dashboard, the one you usually log in as a juror to do something with the court, doesn't have a way to create disputes. So maybe if you're still wondering why I can't create disputes from here, the main answer to that is that that's why we're working on agreements. We want agreements to be the main bridge between our own court and organizations. Of course, this court is not working only for organization disputes, but probably is the main case that we want to work for. But anyway, there are ways to create disputes here, but we're not providing like a UI, fancy UI way to do that, at least for now. So currently, the only way you could do this is like a model level thing. So you will need to interact with smart contracts to do that. It's not that bad. We have prepared, like, let me see if I can get into GitHub now. Okay, it's working now. So we have set up this court backend with monorepo. It basically holds different packages. One of them is the back office that I showed before, and this is called the app. We have also a CLI tool. This is what we're going to use now to interact with our smart contracts to create a dispute. I showed that in a second, but just to give you an idea, it also has the server that we're using to to store some information that is not stored on chain, like notifications or the auto reveal service that we're going to provide to the jurors, and many other not huge, but other related information to the court that it's not going to be stored on chain. And the services, these are kind of you can think them as workers that are running automatically there somewhere to make things happen in the court to provide like a better experience to the people using the court. For example, the heartbeat. I don't know if you know, but the court needs to be updated on every court term. This is like I don't want to go off topic, but it's something that needs to happen every 8 hours for the instance that we have set up on mainnet, and someone needs to do that manually. So we set up a working for that, and the services are running basically many workers. One of them is a heartbeat, and some shared logic among all these packages, not super important. So let's go over the CLI. This CLI, it's like you can see it as a user CLI. It basically provides many commands, as you can see here. One of them, for example, again, the heartbeat, or I want to stake some NJ tokens for a juror, I can use the stake command, or I want to unstake some tokens, or I want to activate stake tokens to the court, or I want to deactivate tokens. I want to make a donation to the court. I want to create an arbitrable. I'm going to go over this one in a second, because we're going to need that one to create the dispute. I want to subscribe to the court. I want to create the dispute. I want to draft the dispute, to commit, to reveal, to appeal, to confirm an appeal, to settle around, so the jurors and execute the ruling of a dispute that has already been decided by the court. There are many commands here. Many of them can be done through the court dashboard, but again, it's a nice option to have all these available for a CLI tool. We are not publishing this tool anywhere, so you cannot install it using npm or something like that. So basically, the best way to use it is like we're explaining here. Just clone this repo, go into the folder, install the dependencies, go to the CLI package, and basically start calling these commands. So let's use one of the, because I don't want to bootstrap a clone instance locally, let's use one of the instances that we have here. It's going to take a while, but maybe the staging one. Let me check. Yeah, we can probably use this one. Yeah, let's going to use this instance. So, are you guys writing here? No. Okay. Yeah.
No, all good. I'll let you know if there's anything that we need to add.
Okay, great. So yeah, let's go into use the staging instance. This is an instance that we have set up on Rinkeby with a special parameters. Probably the most important one is that the terms don't last 8 hours as in mainnet. It's just 10 minutes, so it's like faster. So yeah. So the first thing that I need to do to create the dispute, something that you may heard somewhere is this smart contract called arbitrable. So a dispute needs to be created from an arbitrable contract. So we cannot send a transaction to the court saying create dispute, blah, blah, blah. I need to deploy an arbitrable contract that will basically create the dispute for me. So that's why we're going to use the arbitrable command. So I have set up here like an alias to avoid doing, well, it should work. Staging. Well, it's not working. Let's go without the alias. So this is basically the entry point of the CLI tool, and now you can start passing the arguments. I'm going to call the arbitrable command. You can see here that which are the basically the options that I can use for this command. I'm going to go straight to this. Just stop me and ask me questions if you have any. So I'll specify that I want to deploy to the staging network, and I want it to output the verbose mode. So as you can see, it's creating a new arbitrable instance with, since I didn't specify any other sender, it's assuming that the sender is going to be the owner of the arbitrable instance. Now I have it here. The owner is basically because you're going to be the one basically allowed to create disputes using that arbitrable instance. So the first thing I need to do in order to create a dispute is to subscribe this arbitrable instance to the court. This means basically start paying subscriptions for the court. So I'm going to use the subscribe command. I need to specify the address of the arbitrable instance that I want to use. I need to specify, well, the network, of course, and I can specify the number of periods that I want to be subscribed to the court. By default, it's going to be one period. It's equivalent to 30 days in mainnet, for example. I'm not sure how long is here in the staging instance, but yeah, let's go over this again. So I'm going to specify the address that I just deployed. Oh, sorry. There we go. Network staging, verbose mode, periods, yeah, 10 periods. Yeah. Good, no problem. This is going to fail, probably, maybe not, because I need to have some die. Well, I guess I already have some die, but I'll show you how to mint die in a second. Because to pay these periods, I need to have die, and we also have a mint command, or you can go over the faucet. Sorry for that. You can go over the faucet that we have set up here in the back office, and you can claim some die from here. I already have a lot, so yeah, it's not going to fail. Otherwise, you simply go, just click claim, and it's going to try to send a transaction using MetaMask. Super simple. Yeah, it didn't fail because I already had some die. So once you have subscribed your arbitral address, what you will need to do is to create a dispute, you will need to provide some die to the arbitral instance. That's basically because to create the dispute, you need to pay the court fees. And since the arbitral is going to be creating the dispute, either you made an allowance to arbitral, or you send some tokens to it. So actually, I guess it only works with an approval, now that I'm thinking of. So yeah, let's go over Rinkv. I'm going to go over this is the die instance that we have. I fetched the address from here. This is the die instance that we have set up in Rinkv. So I'm going to approve some tokens to this arbitral instance. And yeah, let's put here like 100 is going to be more than enough. Let's say 1,000. Yeah, it's more than enough. Okay. Yeah, allow Rinkv to spend my die. Okay, let's wait for that transaction. Of course, once you have set up your arbitral instance, you don't need to do this all over again. You can reuse the same arbitral instance, right? I'm just going from scratch, so you know how to do it. And now that I have approved my die to the arbitral instance, what I will do is basically called the dispute param. This is a huge one. So in order to create presence campaign disputes, I'm going to show some details about that. So presence campaign disputes need to have some specific metadata. So that's why we have here all these long metadata. So this is strictly related to how we're going to be creating disputes for the presence campaign. Maybe I'm not sure who asked that question, but this is probably yeah, maybe it's not relevant for now. I mean, what is the metadata? The important thing is that to create the dispute, I just can call the dispute command, just specify the address of the arbitrable that I want to use to create the dispute. Pass the metadata, the evidence, the submitter of the evidence, The C flag is to mark the evidence submission period as closed after I submit the dispute, the network, and again that I want to open in verbose mode. Um, if you just want to create a sample dispute, just put whatever you want here in the metadata. It's going to make it like it's going to work anyway, but it's not going to appear in a nice way, in the way we're expecting for the President's campaign to appear in the dashboard. But of course, it's going to work in the court. So yeah, let's try. So yeah, it's creating a dispute for subject here. It means arbitrable, but basically this is the address of the arbitrable that I sent before. Okay, and it failed, and let's see why. Oh, now that we're using ethers, the error messages are not super nice here. So let me check on Etherscan. Deposit failed. Yeah, that's what I assumed. So I think that I don't remember this honestly because I don't do it very often. I think instead of approval, I need to transfer the tokens to my arbitrable. So I'm going to transfer the tokens directly. Okay. 1,000 DAI. That should be enough to create the dispute. Actually, for example, in mainnet that costs 30 DAI and some cents. But yeah, it's no more than that. Okay, let's try again. Okay, so it worked. It created a dispute. Now it's submitting the evidence. As you can see, this is what I sent here in the E flag, with the E flag. I sent an APFS cache. This is the submitter that is specified also for the evidence. And now it's closing the evidence periods. Good. That's why it's specified there. Quick comment, you can use this same and it created dispute number 4. Now we're going to look at it in the back office or the dashboard, because we have a dashboard set up for staging. You can specify here like more than one. This is a list evidence. You can do like Google or whatever, yeah, and you can specify multiple submitters. Of course, if you match the length of both lists, it's going to use the one that it corresponds to it. Otherwise, it's going to probably assume the first submitter every time. But yeah, nothing else than that. So yeah, the dispute number 4 is created, so we can go over this staging back office. By the way, these URLs are available in the repo of the court backend. You can see all these weird URLs that we kept set up for the back office. If we go here to the disputes, we should see the dispute number 4 that I just created. This is the address of the arbitrable that I used there. This is long metadata that we're using for the president's campaign, and you can see here, yeah, basically now it's in drafting status and all that. I can go to the dashboard that we have set up in staging, and I should be able to see this dispute here as well. Disputes, here it is. So yeah. Okay, I think I didn't submit the metadata correctly. This is what's going to happen if you don't specify that long metadata that you're expecting for the president's campaign. Yeah, I didn't check it. Yeah, this is the error. Yeah, a metadata should have like a JSON. Yeah, point to a JSON file that is exactly inside this IPFS directory. Yeah, so yeah, I submitted. But so yeah, it's not being parsed very well. But we did other tries to this, and for example, it should look like this if you specify your metadata correctly. Again, the metadata doesn't match a lot. You can create disputes with any metadata you want, but if you want to create a presence campaign dispute, just follow that metadata correctly. I can, again, not sure who asked that question, but I can probably tell more details about how that metadata need to be specified to the person directly. So yeah, going to the next question. How can I manually check the heartbeat situation? Okay. So again, this could be done from the back office. Actually, there are many ways to, well, for example, you see there that it just turned from 0 to 1. It says need transitions 1. So how can I check if the court instance is updated? Basically, if it's a 0 here, it means that it's up to date. Otherwise, yeah, it needs to run the heartbeat. We have set up some services, as I mentioned before, for all these instances, all the one that we have on the testnets, and of course the one that it's on mainnet. So I'm not sure. I'm quite new to this, but let me check. Heartbeat. So this, yeah, as you can see, this is the Heartbeat service running for the station instance, and it was updating the core term, and it will try to update it once it runs. Otherwise, you can run it either from here. You can send a transaction to update the Heartbeat, and it will update it. Or I think the related question was, what if it's 100 terms behind? So in order to do that, what you should use is the CLI command. It got confirmed the transaction, so now I should see that the core term is up to date. We should see a 0 there. Yeah, 0. Okay, now we're up to date. You can use the heartbeat command. And the heartbeat command basically receives or expects one optional argument that it's transitions. So what you could do here is to simply say transitions 100 or whatever staging, and it will try to, let's output in verbose mode. You will see there that it will try to update it. Yeah, it basically requires certain transitions because we updated it recently, but otherwise it will try to update it 100 times. Of course, there's a limit. The limit is the gas limit, and I think it is up to 150 or around 200 transitions per transaction. So if you are too far away from to be up to date, you just need to run this command multiple times to get your core instance up to date. Cool. So how can I vote without the front end? Okay, nice. Again, what we could do here is to use the CLI tool. So we can use this vote command. Basically, commit, I think it is. Commit. Yeah, commit. As you can see here, commit. No, here, commit vote for its build round. Okay, sorry. I see I haven't used this in a while, so I'm not sure which are the arguments that I need to specify. But yeah, basically the dispute, the outcome that I want to vote, the password that I will use to hash that outcome, and yeah, then basically the optional flags like network, verbose, and all that. Well, network is not optional. So I have here like an example of how can I do this. We can try doing this in one of the disputes that we have set up here. Let's see. So Yeah, probably I can draft dispute 0 and see if I get selected. Otherwise, I won't be able to show this. So there's a draft command, network staging, and dispute number 4. Let's see if this works. Nice. Okay, I need to check that error. What's happening? Okay, yeah, I'm not going to take a look on that now, guys. But let's try. We can try with another dispute. Maybe this one is because we need to wait one term until it reaches the draft term. That it's the next term to the closing evidence period. So maybe, yeah, that's why it's failing. Although we should show a better error if it's that. No, actually, it happened. It worked because it says voting period now, and we can check that in the dashboard as well. Yeah, adjudicating. Okay, it's working. Yeah, we have an error there. Can someone please send me a message to make sure I check this line? Core.js 306. Thanks. Yep. So yeah, let's see who got drafted. Maybe it's one of my addresses. Yeah. Okay. How is one of those is it's me. This one. Actually, yeah, I think all of those are me. Nice. Let's try to use this one to vote on that dispute. So no, it wasn't vote. It was commit. So I'm going to vote on staging network dispute number 4. The outcome will be 3. We have a numeric terminology for outcomes. Basically, 0 is missing votes, so don't try to, well, it's going to fail, but don't try to commit the vote with number 0. 1 is for leaked, 2 is for refused, 3 for one of the outcomes, and 4 for the other outcome. So just use 2, 3, or 4. I'm going to use 3. The password I'm going to use is Facu and verbose, and from I want to use this address, hopefully one of my addresses. So this session fail. Okay, maybe this is not one of my addresses. Let's try with this one. Or maybe we have another error. Sorry, guys, but we did a migration from Web3 to Ethers, and there are many things I didn't have a chance to test. So this is probably one of them. Let's see if it worked anyway. So I can check the drafts. Yeah, it worked. No, it didn't. So yeah, I need to check that. But trust me that this command will allow you to commit the vote. Again, passing an outcome, a password, and basically the address of your address that you wanna use to commit that vote. Thanks, Brett. This is the error that I'm getting. Something related to the hash, probably line 313. But again, trust me that you can use this CLI tool to commit a vote once I fix it. And okay, so let's go over the next question. How can I find how much active stake Jura has? Okay, so probably you can use Etherscan for this, or again, you can use your like the back office instance. Well, at least I like to use this a lot, so it's probably one of the most helpful tools for me. So you can see here. So yeah, I'm not connected to mainnet. That's what I mentioned before. If I'm not connected to the same address, it's going to pop up a message saying that you couldn't find the core instance in that network, but the query, like all the information that it's querying, it's going to work perfectly. So, for example, I don't know, I can here we have all the jurors that we have listed. We don't have a filtering functionality built in, but you can specify, I don't know, address. Like I'm searching the browser, I can pick this address and click on that guy, and I will see all the INJ that address is active, or I can manually enter from here from a URL if I want to filter about an address that I already know that it exists. Otherwise, of course, it's going to return a 404. And what else I can do from here? I can see all the times that this guy was selected for a dispute. Actually, none. I can see all the staking movements that he did. Basically, he staked only once and activated all of it. It was quite simple. And all the accounting, but since he claimed the subscription fees some days ago. So yeah, he received like 1.5 DAI for that. So that's how we can probably query all the information about the juror. You can also check it again on Etherscan. So I'm just waiting for the module to load so I can open it there. I'm going to switch to mainnet so it stops throwing the error. Come on. It's taking a while. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I can go over the jurors registry, and this is the contract that actually holds that information. So I can go to read contract and use one of these functions. Total stake, total stake, no. Balance of juror, this one. I just input the address there, and I will receive this is the active balance that is being showed in the back office. There is no log balance because this guy wasn't picked for any dispute yet, or is not participating in any dispute. There's no pending deactivation because he didn't request any, and he doesn't have any available balance waiting to be staked, waiting to be activated or withdraw from the court. So yeah, probably these are the two most useful options to answer this question. So going to the next one, how can I find who the governor is? Again, the back office. This is probably the most helpful tool. Here you have all the governor addresses. As you maybe not all of you know, but there are 3 governors actually. In all the instances, the governor is actually the same address, so we can see it as a single address. But we have a way to decentralize it if we want to. So there's a governor that actually holds or has the power to change the modules of the court. Basically, the address that can do the upgrades. We have the config governor that basically is the one that can change all the settings that we have available for the court, like how many terms last the commit period, or the repeal period, or the appeal period, or how many fees are we going to pay for a juror for each round you get selected, and or I don't know, the penalties or whatever. All that information is being controlled by the config governor. And we have another one that is called funds governor. This is probably one of the most critical ones, and we use it only once when we did the juror registry migration. We basically needed to move all the funds from the old registry to the new one, so we needed to use this guy to do that call. He's the only one that can do that. This is actually a DAO for mainnet. Actually, for some of them testing instances, it's a DAO as well. So because that's how we test all the upgrades that we did. And you can see here all the votings that we submitted. This is the council, the famous council DAO. Okay, for some reason, it doesn't show me the.
Is this the agent in the organization?
Yeah. Sorry, you're right. So yeah, let's go. Yeah, it's the agent. yeah, of course, it's the agent. You can check it from here, but again, you will see here all the votes that we submitted to the NDAO to do all these like the upgrades, or we did one once. This is when we moved some tokens from here to the bonding curve, or yeah, some. Oh well, we changed one of the guys that was yeah, that was in the DAO by another one. Yeah, you can see here all that, and of course that address is the agent uh, of the DAO. That's it. So
Yeah, just on this
yeah,
briefly, Faku, we can show
mhm.
quickly how you can go from the agent to knowing what address the organization's at through Etherscan. Um,
Sorry, say again. We can go through the agent.
yeah, so if you only see the agent's address,
Oh
we can
yeah.
get the organization address through Etherscan.
Okay. Didn't know that. Interesting. So do you mean I can do this, for
Yep,
example?
yep. And then if you go to the contract, and then you can go
Nice.
to read, and there you should be able to see kernel. And
Yeah.
if you input this kernel address into the mainnet URL, it'll load the same DAO.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Another way you can check what that address is. It's again answered in the network deploy repo. Basically, there's an input that is called DAO or something like that. Can't remember. Um, Governor. Yeah. And basically, this states all the governor instances that we have set up for all these instances or environments. This is the one for mainnet. So this is the address that were looking for. This is the address of the DAO. We have again another one for Rinkavi, another one for staging. So yeah, that's probably another way to answer that. For Robson, we have like a yeah, an external own address. That's me. So yeah, so we have all the flavors. Um, so going to the next question, where can I find more information about the particular important contract event? Where do I find its API? So the API, it's basically allowed in NPM. I mean, for the smart contracts, when you when you install the let me show you. When you install the Aragon core package, you're basically going to well get all the smart contracts, but also the ABI and the all the schema information about all those smart contracts. Of course, it's available in in the in the build folder of this of the Aragon core repo. In order to generate it, if you don't have it, you can simply run one of ABI extract or compile. It will work, and you will get there all the information that you need from those smart contracts. And how do you find more information about the particular important contract event? So probably I assume you know which is the contract event you're looking for. So one of the ways we can do this is again through Etherscan, probably the most useful tool for looking or filtering events from a nice UI. So I don't know. Let's go to the Euros registry. This is the mainnet instance. Again, since the contract is verified, the events like functionality that I can use from here, it's super nice. So I don't know. Maybe I just wanna know how many users deactivated some tokens, so I can request or I can filter by this. By this, actually, I can click there. By this, no, I can't click there. Let me see if this works. Maybe this expects a topic. Let's see. Yeah, topic. So yeah, well, it's quite low level, but this is the topic. I mean, topic is usually like you can see as the signature or identifier for that type of event. So it's like a um, alphanumeric way to refer to this particular event. Not this particular, but this type of events like the jury deactivation process events. So I can fetch the topic from there and filter, and it will probably show me, or it should show me, yeah, show me all the jury deactivation process events. How can I get the topic if I don't know, the log here are too large and I don't find any example of the event that I'm looking for? I can go over the API. Yeah, probably like, let's, yeah, there should be here like events or something like that. And I can fetch the topic from there. I'm not sure if you guys have a most useful way to do this. Topic, I'm not sure, but if you, oh, topic is not here. Oh no, yeah, it doesn't list the topic. So yeah, probably the most useful way to do this is from Etherscan. Actually, I'm not sure which type of events you're trying to look for, but I would say like 90% of them are being tracked by the subgraph that we built for the court, and all the information that is being tracked by the subgraph, it's actually output here in the back office, and most of it in the core dashboard as well. So you should be able to query that information from here. Otherwise, let us know. But if you're handled to get the topic of an event you're trying to look for, just go over the Etherscan UI and you will be able to query. But just dropping the topic here. Um, and yeah, we arrived to the last question. How does the core handle dark DAO? This link. I hate that. Essential one. Hope it's not malicious. Okay. Mary stops smart contract that will pay the jurors if they vote against on her case. Okay. So I would say this is a interesting question. Not sure if we can discuss this scenario, but suppose there's a smart contract that will pay jurors if they vote against on a case. Maybe they're willing. I would expect they're willing to pay much more than the court will actually pay if they vote for what's correct to vote, or what the majority would vote as the correct outcome. So I think that if you manage to pay more than that, you will probably, I mean, you need to have more money than the money that is basically backing the court, because otherwise, I mean, you can keep like appealing rounds until you reach the final round, and basically all the community will vote there. So it means that that smart contract will need to pay more money than all the money that those jurors are going to lose by voting for for the the wrong or the bad outcome. It's kind of tricky, but I think that would be the case. Again, not sure if we can discuss this right here, if I'm getting it correctly. Happy to talk a bit more about it.
Yeah, I think this one is pretty difficult to discuss without really understanding the dark DAO. problem, let's call it.
Mhm.
Because one interesting thing that happens with the dark DAO, there's like multiple stages of darkness, I guess. But the most dark is like an invisible version of the bribing contract. So you don't actually know that jurors have been bribed. And then at that point, I do agree that the appeal process is probably the root of the security.
Mhm.
But you have to kind of trust that even without knowledge that people are getting bribed, these results will get appealed. And this is quite difficult to do because on a subjective matter, it may not require swaying that many people to get the result you want and still make it look legitimate. Um,
Yeah.
but at that point, it's like, it's really quite hard to say like what you're supposed to do against this problem.
Well, the thing is that I would say you can always trust the appeal, unless, of course, I mean the party that you're voting against is actually being bribed as well. So because I mean anyone can appeal. That's why I would say you can always trust the like yeah the appeal process, right? I mean it's not only jurors. So even if you are
Yeah,
paying any juror, anyone could appeal that case. So
I
um,
mean, I definitely agree with that, but I think it's it really becomes difficult in terms of subjective cases, because if it's like five voted no and zero voted yes, and you kind of have a sense that this is probably somewhere more in the middle, you're like, okay,
mhm.
maybe I should do the appeal. But if it's like two and two are tied, and then you bribe the third person to do what you want them to do to make it go no, it looks a lot more legitimate. Um,
Yeah,
and there, it's like, you know, uh, do you trust the appeal process? Is someone going to step in, being like, okay, there's clearly should have been a yes in that case? And I think that's quite where it's hard to solve for. And
mm,
this is subjective anyway, right? So maybe that's a moot point. Maybe it's just like, well, subjective. Like, what do you expect? Um, but yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, actually, there are many tons of cases like this that we haven't thought very thoroughly. Yeah, that you could probably try to manipulate jurors from the court to do something, or yeah, it's there are many different weird managed cases that we could have. But yeah, one of the things that we brought up many times when we were developing the core protocol was when we were asking about this type of situations, it was like, let's try to not provide a built-in solution for these particular first scenarios now, and let's see, we can always upgrade the protocol to more complex version in the future to handle these kind of situations. Um, but yeah, so again, there were I remember there were multiple cases similar to this one that we were thinking when developing the protocol, but it was really hard, to try to bring like custom solutions for all these type of different scenarios. So for example, something that we did when we were started to think how jurors could be manipulated, like even if you're trying to build till the final round and all that. So what we finally did to kind of try to provide at least a simple solution in case that happened was this problem of the final log terms. Basically, if someone manages to, I mean, to someone ends on the winning side uh, of of the of the dispute after it reaches the final dispute round. So what is going to happen is that uh, the winning side will get locked their tokens for a few court terms, so the minority can exit the court in case it was malicious. They will be paid for that NJ more than the winning side of the dispute because they're going to exit sooner or earlier than the winning side from the bonding curve that it's backing the NJ. So that's basically probably the most simple solution that we came up with for these kind of scenarios. But yeah, it's a generalization. It's not solving the problem per se. But again, the idea is that we can keep improving the protocol in the future if we want to, and providing like more versions of the core, or actually deploy like different protocols in the future if we want to. That's the good thing, that we can let jurors decide which core, which core they want to be participating in. Okay, guys. Not sure what time is it. Are we?
So we have 20 minutes left.
Yeah. Does someone else want to ask something else? Okay. Was it useful? What do you understood what I basically showed? Maybe I went too fast. Yeah. Was it clear enough? Yeah, totally, Facu.
Yeah, I think it was quite useful. Yeah, I think the only way to gauge is by asking people in the future. For example, if I needed to ask Pierre, for example, where to find the contracts, hopefully now we'll be able to do that on our own.
Yeah. Yeah, summing up, I think most of the questions were related to the back office that we have set up for the court. It's super useful. Maybe the UI is not super friendly, but yeah, you will be able. You should be able to query most of the information that we have available for the court there. Especially again the court modules, which may be the addresses that you should be looking for more frequently. But if there are any other address that you want to look for, just go over the network deploy repo and the CLI tool is what I use the most to interact with the court, in case it is of course something that I cannot do from the dashboard. But the dashboard again is more focused to jurors. So for example, you can do things like votes, like to print the votes or to reveal a vote. But you cannot do things like, I don't know, deploy an RP trouble again or create a dispute. Or, well, I'm not sure about the settlements. I guess we added that. But yeah, there are a few many, like, or change the configuration of the court. You will need to have like governor rights to do that. But in case you, I don't know, you deploy your local court instance and you want to do that, you can do it from the CLI tool. And yeah, there are a few certain like admin functionalities that are available from that CLI. Yeah, sad that it didn't work some of those commands, but again, we migrated to Ethers last week, and yeah, there are a few things that I need to review and test to make sure it's working correctly.
Cool. Thank you for very nice session.
No problem. Thank you guys for participating. Okay, if there are no more questions, I think we can drop the call. And if you guys have some other questions in the future, we can schedule another session. It's always cool to teach all this.
Yep, sounds good.
Yep. Thank you, Facu.
Right, thanks everyone.
Okay.
Thank you, Facu. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.